Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well. We are that much closer to tonight's Saturday Nightmares Live from New York, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you all there. We have a lot of fun. We talk encounters, theories, music, movies, and just BS. It's a good time. So I hope to see you all there. Right now I have a interview with a subscriber out of Maryland. And it is very horrifying with an actual picture of this supposed cryptid that we're going to be discussing. Before we jump into it though, a couple links. As you all know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. The merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook version. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost you a cent. Click that like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all of these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. And folks, they definitely do matter. Now everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's upload, shall we? All right, everybody. Last week I had a subscriber come on and he shared a Bigfoot encounter with us, talked a little bit about some family encounters and experiences and stuff like that. Well, I have Brian back with us today. Brian, how are you?
I'm all right, Jeff. How you doing? How's everybody doing out there?
I'm doing well. Thank you for coming back on. I'm glad we could get back together and do this.
Yes, me too.
You had two experiences, a Dogman experience and a Goatman experience. You needed a couple of days to just kind of process how you wanted to share them, and I'm hoping that you got the time together to figure out how you wanted to do it. So I'm going to turn the floor over to you, and
Okay.
that way you can share what you've got to share with us. I might interrupt you to ask you a question, but other than that, the floor is yours, my friend.
Hey, it's no problem. All right, I'm gonna start out with the Goatman encounter. All right, it was me, my ex-girlfriend Krista, Kelly, and Danny. We took Kelly's car up to Seven Hills. It's part of Old Ellicott City, where there's an old train bridge, or not a train bridge, a train. Yeah, it's a bridge, and it's covered over. It's like a tunnel, more or less.
Okay.
And then there's an old girls' school that had burnt up. That supposedly it said that the girls were. Hold on 1 second.
Sure.
And that there's an old girls' school there that's supposedly the doors were chained shut, and it's supposed to be haunted. The school's knocked down now. It's nothing but a pile of rubble. But we were up there, like we're going ghost hunting. We're walking all around telling scary stories. Well, start hearing a few gunshots off in the distance, and dogs are all barking. Girlfriend is like clamming up. She gets close, all up on me. So does Kelly with Danny. And I'm like, guys, I'm like, something just feels weird. It's like an ominous feeling in the air. You know what I mean? It wasn't. I don't know if it's just because we were telling stories or whatnot, or you know what I mean? It just had that creepy feeling, and things got really quiet. And I couldn't really hear the dogs barking off in the distance after that. So the girls wanted to get out of there. I'm like, come on. Well, we started walking back towards the car. Well, that whole area down there, you got a river that runs through. It's dark road. Nobody really comes that back road at all, takes it at all. And I turn back around and I'm looking and I see this thing stand up. It's right in front of a tree. And it stands up. And this thing got to be maybe 7.5 feet tall. I could see its horns. I could see it had like a grayish colored fur. I couldn't see a tail because it was back on the tree. And I could just see its facial features because I called it with the moonlight. The moonlight that was out, I think it was like a quarter moon that light. And I had a flashlight in my hand anyways, and I shined it back on it. And I could see its like eyes weren't like a red eye. It was more like a bloodshot pink colored.
Were they glowing, or were they just?
It was like a glowy. It was a glowy. They were glowing.
Okay.
Literally glowing. Freaky eyes, like the most freakiest thing I've ever seen. Worse than seeing the Dogman's eyes.
Okay.
And its nose was wide, and its face was kind of short with big teeth, very big teeth. And the teeth were jagged. They weren't like how a regular goat's teeth look. And you could see the horns on his head. It had them funny ears, them pointy ears that the goats have.
Yep.
Coming out on the sides with the horn set in the middle. And this thing was huge. It made the weirdest scream I've ever heard. Like it's not Bigfoot. It's not how a deer sounds. It's not even how a goat would sound. Like it sounded like it was like stuck in the middle between trying to be human and be an animal at the same time. It was a male. I could see its big cojones hanging.
Okay.
That was definitely apparent. It wasn't a female. And the feet and legs were it was disproportionate that like the bottom half compared to the top half. It was, how can I put it? You could see claws on its hands coming off. The nails, you could see that really good. It looked like a human hand, a humanoid hand, just with real long, skinny fingers. And it screamed at me, and I had a gun on me at that point. And my buddy Danny, he fired first. He had a 9mm. I had my regular old 40 that I had on me. I fired, which I did make contact with the creature. That's when I heard the scream. It screamed out because there was no way we were getting away from this creature. If he wanted us, he could have been on us just like that. Like, he moved fast, and I mean fast, because it moved from one tree to the next within like a split second. And after I got a shot off and hit it, we continued to run to the car. And you could hear this thing coming, and it was just like knocking down brush and all that. Like, it was pissed. Very pissed.
Was it running bipedally or on all fours?
I dropped down to all fours.
Okay.
Dropped down to all fours. And it's like the back end of it was up higher than the front half. When it ran, it just didn't look right. Like, it was so disproportionate.
Right.
It's almost like unreal. It's like this creature like this should not exist. It kind of reminded you of like almost how when you think about a devil,
mm-hmm.
a devil would look. That's what it reminded you of. Just with a silverish gray coat.
Okay.
And being 7.5 foot tall, you know, that's a big creature.
Yeah.
And honestly, like right under the neck area, you could see skin. It was like almost like a very pale white. Very, very pale. For some reason, under its neck, it didn't have no fur. I don't know why. You would think it would have fur going all the way down. I don't know if it was a battle scar or what. which it could have been.
So you guys get to the car, and then what happens?
When we got to the car, this creature was literally on the back end of the car, and it's like the back end, you could feel it shaking the car, because she didn't get the car in gear fast enough. Because the only thing I did, I dove right in the back seat, and I'm like looking at the back, and this thing's on all fours, and it's trying to pick up the back end of a Pontiac Grand Am. And they're front wheel drive vehicles, and he's like literally pulling at the vehicle, shaking it, pulling at it. I'm surprised it didn't come around and try like the door or whatnot, and it tore paint off the bumper, plastic bumper. And then finally, when we did get out of there, and I saw it in the rear view, and this thing was still chasing us, because we had a couple of turns we had to go around, so you couldn't drive really, really fast. You could only go maybe top speed of 20, 25 back in the area where I was at.
Okay.
And I've been back there since, and I haven't seen the creature again, but I haven't been back there at night. And I know the one guy that you had on, he had his experience during the day with it.
Yep.
But mine was a nighttime experience. And I don't know if it's because he was over there messing off with the one guy's house in the distance, and the guy took a couple shots in the air, and it came upon us. I know I never ran so fast in my life. Like, it scared the hell out of me. It scared the hell out of me way worse than the Bigfoot.
Right.
Like, these things aren't supposed to exist.
Yeah.
Especially a creature like that. You know what I mean? You could see it in his arms. You could see how muscular it was, too. It was very muscular. And it wasn't a fat creature. It was, how can I put it? You could tell that it was shapely, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, almost like this damn thing worked out. Even in its legs, it had man legs, but when you got to the calves were shaped like an animal, like a goat. And the bottom half of his feet was shaped like a goat. You could see the hooves.
Okay.
You could definitely see the hooves, and you could see the split in the hooves. But they were very big hooves. Like, they were huge. Like, I'd say this thing was probably, the hooves on this thing was probably big as two of my fists put together. And that's a good 8 inches. 8-9 inches wide.
Right. So where this house was that you heard the shots coming from, approximately how far would that have been from where you guys were at the time?
Okay, at the time, I would say you're talking probably at least a half a mile. Okay. At least a half a mile. The gun that got shot off, it was a pretty big, it was a shotgun. So how loud it was a loud boom, you know what I mean? It was a loud couple booms.
Right. So it got to you guys pretty quick.
Pretty damn quick.
Okay.
Because by the time that creature got there into where we were exiting from, at the stairs, mm-hmm. We came all the way from where old car was in the ground, and I would say that right there, from that spot right there, I would say that's a good about 5-minute walk. 5 to 10 minute walk. At night, you know?
Yeah.
Even during the day.
How was everybody? I'm sorry, what?
I had a small flashlight with me, you know?
Yeah. How was everybody's, like, demeanor? What were you guys thinking about after you guys got away from this thing?
Like, my girlfriend kept saying, what the hell was that? What the hell was that?
Right.
Like, that's, like, unreal. She thought it was, like, maybe, like, a demon or ghost or whatever. Well, like, that was no ghost. So that was a goat. And then Kelly and Danny, them two, they were talking. It was just me and her talking at first. And then I asked Kelly later on, I'm like, what did you see? She said, I saw a man-looking goat. I'm like, describe it to me. So she started describing it and talking about how it had antlers, not antlers, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And how its ears looked and its eyes, about the red eyes. That's one thing she said, red eyes. Like blood red eyes. That's one thing I remember. Because she brought it up to me, the blood red eyes. Because I kept saying red eyes. She said, no, blood red eyes. Like it wasn't like a deep red. It was like a pinkish red.
Okay.
You know how like an albino rabbit looks with red eyes?
Yeah.
That's how its eyes were.
Okay.
And how its eyes were set in its head, it was like funny like a rabbit. How the top part of a rabbit, how a rabbit's eyes set.
Yeah.
Like from each other, apart. That's how its eyes were. That helped me describe it better.
Okay. Yeah.
Like they weren't just like flat in the side of his head like a man.
Right.
Freaky looking, like, I don't know, you would have to see it.
Yeah.
Like I can picture it. Like I would love to draw it out. Have like a sketch artist do it for me.
Now, how far was that from like I don't know, from town or from like a populated area?
Okay, that area there, we're talking a good 15 minutes before you actually even come into old Ellicott City.
Okay.
And that's got a lot of history of being very haunted.
All right.
And that whole area right there, you got old Ellicott City, which connects to Seven Hills. Seven Hills is connected to the Patapsco State Park. That's all part of Patapsco State Park. Where I was is a part of the state park. Like it's all runs in together.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot of room for this thing to just.
Oh, he's got ample room. Like he can run down the tracks and he can run them tracks for miles and miles and miles and not come in contact with no one.
Right.
Huh. Now I know there were some hobos that were supposedly out in that area that I was told that they were supposedly killed by some type of creature, like torn apart.
How long ago was that? A while ago, or?
I heard that was probably back in 2000, either 6 or 7. I was told. Okay. I'm leaning more towards 7.
And when was this encounter that you had?
My encounter took place in 2006.
Okay. Wow. So after that ends, was your Dogman encounter before or after this?
The Dogman encounter was after that. Okay. Completely after that. That took place.
Same location or?
No, different location. That happened in West Virginia.
Okay. All right. Let's get into that if you don't mind.
All right. Trying to remember the name of the town that I was in because it's a little small. You know how they all run together.
Yep.
So there in West Virginia, I'm at my brother's house. I went down to see him for a little bit. I was with my, actually his father-in-law, Charles, and Mossy's dad. So I go down there to go see my brother and see how they're doing and whatnot. I had to go to the bathroom. His son was in the bathroom. I go outside to go use the bathroom. And granted, the whole side of his house, it's woods from far as you can see. You got mountains and all that where I guess the old coal mines used to be.
Okay.
That are right around the corner from that. And in this area, I go over by next to a tree. Like, it's only like, I can still see the house behind me. I go up next to the tree. I'm relieving myself. I look down and then I look up. Grayish black creature. That's how I'm going to describe it, with that raggedy coat.
Okay.
It had a real shaggy, raggedy coat. And its face was set up like how the coyote is on how you said the Wile E. Coyote.
Yep.
Same exact face, just with the bigger teeth. And he's just sitting there, and he's looking at me, and he has that smile on his face, like he's like looking at me with that smirking smile, with his like tongue hanging out to the side, like how a dog smiles at you. That scared the hell out of me. I think I peed more at the time. And I'm looking at him face to face. His eyes were red. I could see the white in his eyes around the eye itself.
Okay.
And I could see the red on the inside. And this thing's just smiling at me. And I like closed my eyes and like shook my head for a second, like thinking I'm seeing something that I'm not seeing, you know, because I'm like, there's no dogs that big. Never seen a dog that big. It had the pointy ears like a German Shepherd. And he's just standing there. I could see his claws on his hands. Very stout top half. Bottom half, I would say, is more skinnier. And I could see dog paws for feet. And I look at it, and I got to look up, and this thing's gone. It's just gone. After I shook my head and like trying to make sense of what I've just seen, and it disappeared just like that. I mean, you couldn't even hear no brush, no nothing. Like, where did it go? Did it go up a tree? Did it go over the embankment, or what? Like, I don't know where this creature went. Like, he just disappeared. Quick as he was there, even quicker he was gone. I don't know if he was just there trying to scare me. I even asked my brother, I said, do you see anything here on this property? He said, what do you mean? I said, do you ever hear like dogs or anything off in the distance? He said, yeah, I hear dogs, but I got my own dog. It's probably just her. Because he let her out and she goes and runs off and does whatever the hell she wants. But seeing that creature, them creatures, like, am I meant to see it? Did it just choose me? Do they choose me?
Right.
I want to know the answer. I always want to know the answer.
Right. Now, was it bipedal or was it on fours? It was bipedal?
No, it was bipedal.
Okay.
When I saw the Dogman, it was bipedal.
Okay.
He was walking on two legs. He wasn't on all fours, like how you hear some encounters.
Right.
Now, I don't know if he dropped down to all fours when he took off or what he did. No, I would love to see one again from a distance. I don't want no problems with it. You know what I mean? I'm not just going to try to make any problems.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
But the Goatman. Now, I think if he would have got a hold of me, he would have killed me that night.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way you describe it, its behavior, definitely. With the Dogman, was there, how many other people were around or in the house?
Okay, in the house, it was Mossy, his wife, his daughter, his stepson, Bubba. He had a very bad accident, so he was like confined to a wheelchair at that time. He was laying in bed.
Did you tell anybody about this, or?
I didn't really say nothing about it because I thought maybe I was seeing things.
Okay.
Like, I started researching it a little bit and to really understand what I saw. And all signs point to a Dogman. Right. Especially with that smile that they do. Like, it's like they're making fun of you. Like, you know, I could have
It's like it gets
to
joy in
eat you if I
scaring
want
you.
to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now,
They do that.
was there any noise or nothing?
Only thing I can hear is the tense breathing.
Okay.
You can hear its breathing, like from its core coming out to its snout.
Yeah.
It was deep, very deep.
Maybe it was just watching the house and you just happened to stumble upon it or something like that.
That's what I'm thinking.
Or it was, if the dog was outside, maybe it was hunting the dog, or who knows,
I think maybe it might have been looking for the dog. Who knows? I don't know. I think maybe they, in a way, they take dogs and they got them in their pack and they do some of their bidding for them,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, with coyotes, I mean, they travel sometimes with coyote packs and stuff like that. So, yeah.
True, they do.
Yeah.
And they call them in.
Now, so that ended, and then
that ended that.
Yeah.
And then my father brought up another encounter with my grandfather.
Okay.
He was playing football.
Where was this?
I can't remember where he said it was. He just said it was in the countryside. Okay. When my grandfather was a young boy, probably about 19, 20 years old.
Okay.
And they're out there playing football, and it's nighttime, and they're just being kids, goofing off, throwing the ball around, whatnot. And they said that it was almost like the ground had opened up, and this demon-like creature had antlers, like a goat. He didn't go into too much detail of the head, but they said it was like it was throwing fireballs. It's kind of hard to put it. And it chased him and his friends around.
Okay.
Like trying to get it. And they said it was nobody in a costume because it was too big. Far too big to be any human. I think it might have been 8 feet, 9 feet tall.
Okay.
Said it wasn't a little creature. It was huge.
Yeah.
It said that it had hooves. It said it had hooves.
All right.
I do remember that being said. It had hooves. And the creature was very muscular. But when it chased them, it ran awkward. It ran like it was almost walking on, like it was walking on stilts, is almost how he put it when it walked. Like it wasn't it could walk, but it wasn't comfortable.
Right. More like it'd probably be more comfortable on all fours than two.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, when it was like when he said it came out of the ground, or what?
He said it came out of the ground, like the ground opened up.
Okay.
Is how he described it. I said, what, like a sinkhole? And my dad didn't really go into much detail with it.
Right.
I guess because he really didn't know all the details. It was just something that my grandfather brought up to him, but didn't get into the whole logistics of it. Like, I wish he would have, because it's got my interest intrigued, especially with the fire part. I'm like,
yeah, that's strange.
Where the hell was he getting the fire from, Yeah. Like, it just literally made fire like that. Like, that's crazy. Like, did he come across a real devil?
Yes.
Or a demon? What was that creature? I said, did he smell any foul smell? He said there was a sulfury smell in the air, but I don't know if that's because of the fire or whatnot. Now, I did have a smell with the Goatman.
Okay, what was that?
And that smelled like rotting meat.
Okay.
It didn't have the same smell as the Bigfoot had. It was completely different. And if anybody would try to say else, they're lying. Because that didn't have a musky smell like that.
Okay.
That
Now,
creature really did stink.
now the Dogman, there was no smell. There was just
The dog smelled like a wet dog.
okay.
It did have a wet dog smell. I did smell that,
All right.
but not no musky odor.
Yeah.
And it also did rain earlier that day, so
And it was
would it
was
run
that the summertime, or
yeah, it was in the summertime.
was your Goatman in the summertime, or
Oh, the Goatman was actually in the wintertime.
okay. All right.
I remember having a jacket on. It wasn't like super cold, but it was cold enough.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that the Goatman one is definitely strange, along with your granddad's encounter as well.
But you know that I'm hearing that there's more stories happen. More people have seen the Goatman here in Maryland. Like a lot more people has.
Yeah, I've heard that too. You know, I mean, with Luke seeing it out there and on state land as well, you know, it was. So it's got me thinking maybe they're just something that's, you know, not isolated there, but they can obviously travel, but maybe it's a small pocket of them or something like that.
I'm thinking it's a small pocket of them too. I wonder how they're traveling. I wonder if they're just using the state property, traveling that.
Yeah.
And I wonder how far they go to. I wonder if they go to Pennsylvania. I wonder if they go to Virginia, West Virginia. You know what I mean? Like it's got me intrigued.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I want to know more.
Yeah.
Definitely want to go know more.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of encounters. I mean, there is, but there isn't. You know, it's just a
You're right.
sporadic thing that people are seeing. Maybe they're better at hiding themselves than other creatures are. Yeah, or maybe there is some sort of demonic element to them. I mean, like with the Texas Goatman, supposedly there's portals where that thing is seen. So
you know what? You're right about that. I was looking into that one too, and that one right there really had me like, are they traveling by means of portal?
Yeah.
And just popping up wherever they want to pop up at?
Yeah, I think they're some sort of you know, I mean, you don't really know. So I think they may be demonic or whatever. But then again, who knows? We don't know if any of these things are demonic or whatever. It's just theory, you know, so.
True.
But,
yeah. I wonder if they're related to Skinwalker in a way.
Yeah.
Could be.
I'm not sure about that. I don't know.
I don't know what a Skinwalker is. I really don't.
Well,
like.
From what I've heard, they're just native, you know, Navajo. You know, the Yedadalushi is a Navajo term which translates to Skinwalker, and you know, Reddit and creepypasta and movies have brought it to where it's all over the country, and the word's socially accepted in different parts of the, you know, country now. And it's, I mean, there's shapeshifters obviously everywhere, but you know, the Skinwalker is, you know, the Yedadalushi is Navajo, you know, so I think it's a man that has the ability to transform while it's wearing skins and practicing black magic.
That makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, definitely, I think something's up with the Goatman possibly being demonic, and you know, the smell, like your grandfather mentioned with the sulfur smell, and you know, you with the decaying meat smell.
Yep.
Definitely some sort of demonic presence or whatever. But yeah, I appreciate you coming back and sharing these with us.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on.
Do me a favor, if you hear anything or, you know, talk to anybody about, you know, if you can get any more information about your grandfather's encounter or any kind of other things, let me know. I'd like to know more about the one with the fire incident. You know, it's got
Oh,
me
I
wondering
will.
too if that was a demon. So
That's kind of got me wondering if it was a demon, if it manifested itself, if
yeah,
they were playing with like a Ouija board or whatnot. Being kids, at that time, there really wasn't much for them to do.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
most
like they
definitely.
had video games, there was no social media or anything at that time.
Yeah, and to just you know come out of the ground or whatever, it sounds demonic to me. Unless there's some sort of cave system, you know what I mean? But it's unfortunate that you couldn't get the story from your grandfather's mouth. It was hearsay. So
Yep.
that but
I
but
would
if
have loved to ask him and like literally had him like tell his encounter too.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, we're coming up on like some time. Is there anything that you'd like to say before we end the interview?
I appreciate you having me on and appreciate you taking the time for letting me share my story.
I appreciate you coming on and sharing. Do me a favor though, if you do hear anything from any other family members about that encounter, let me know because it's got me a little thinking about some things. So I appreciate it. Don't hang up when we end the interview. All right.
Yeah, I'm not.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming back. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, brother.
After the interview, I spoke with Brian for a little bit about Goatman, his Goatman experience, and we talked a little bit about the Texas Goatman Bridge, and I looked up Maryland Goatman, and I came across a urban legend, but apparently there's been some paranormal investigators that have actually looked into this, and I want to share this with you. Also, the photo that you guys are seeing is a Bigfoot, or what people are calling the Fletchertown Road Goatman. So let's get into this interesting little urban legend. Shall we? If you're from Prince George County, then you may have already heard the legend of Goatman, which actually has its roots in Route 1 corridor. The year was 1970. A researcher at the Beltsville Agriculture Research Center was doing experiments on goats when something went awry, turning him into a hideous creature with the upper body of a goat. That, at least, is one of the theories of the origin of the Goatman of Prince George County, a legendary monster that has attracted international attention over the years. The Goatman's territory ranges from Beltsville to Bowie, Mitchellville to Upper Marlboro, with the stories circulating from the 50s to the 70s, the heyday of suburban teenage folklore. One key moment came on October 27, 1971, when the Bowie-based Prince George's County News published an article about the University of Maryland's folklore archives, which mentioned the Goatman and other local legends. 2 weeks later, the same reporter published a follow-up, Residents Fear Goatman Lives, Dog Found Decapitated in Old Bowie, about a family that believed the Goatman was responsible for the death of their puppy Ginger. The Washington Post followed up on November 30th, giving the local legend a national audience. By the following year, he was mentioned in American Graffiti when a character says, "Maybe it's the goat killer, and he'll get somebody, and we'll see the whole thing." The Goatman's origin story is a variation on the scientific mishap story holds. The doctor named Stephen Fletcher confessed to creating it with the DNA of a goat, and his assistant, William Lotsford, two names clearly cribbed from the locations of Goatman sightings on Fletchertown and Lotsford Road. The research center shut down its version 2013, noting it had been years since even had goats at the facility. "Don't you think he would have retired by now?" said a spokesperson. "Is his great-grandson a Goatman? Is he collecting Social Security?" Other versions hold that he is a Bigfoot-like creature, an evil spirit from Native American beliefs named Oki, an angry goat herder out for revenge on teenagers who killed his beloved goats, or a hoax made up by local teens. Members of two prominent local families told Prince George County historian Mark Opensnick that the stories began as a way of keeping their kids from wandering too far from home at the time when the area was largely rural. The Goatman would get them if they didn't do as they were told, he wrote. Regardless of its origin, the Goatman has become an international phenomenon, inspiring a cheesy slasher flick, a British documentary, an episode of The X-Files, and a popular Route 1 haunted house in the early 2000s called Goatman Hollow. DC has included the Goatman in a piece. It's called Ghost, Ghouls, and Goatman, 9 Local Haunts That Will Scare You. You know, the spokesperson for the research center, it made no sense. Like, the research center shot down this version in 2013, noting it had been years since they even had goats. Well, the origin is from the 70s. So did they have goats in the 70s? And nobody's saying it is today. They were saying back then. So it's kind of like a butthole-ish way of doing things. I hate people that represent corporate America. You know, I'd like them to kick them all in their Goatman nuts. All right, guys, I hope you all enjoyed this upload as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I hope you enjoyed that colorful little picture I painted of corporate America at the end. Guys, please, I do appreciate all of your support. I hope you know that. Your support is what makes this channel so special and what continues for it to grow and go. It is honestly so appreciated that you cannot understand the amount of gratitude I have for you guys. Everyone, please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, our pets, our family, and friends. These creatures are real, they are out there, and they are dangerous. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop pushing back, never stop asking questions, and God bless you all.